as an expert, from where you sit, what leads one to adultery?
One of the reasons why people go into adultery is because of unresolved perpetual issues within marriage. Yes. And I think that's a challenge. And we must help people to be able to sort out their marriage issues, because running away from marriage issues will not create actually any problem.
Can you just give us, can we delve deeper into that? And let's be very realistic when we take a look at these perpetual issues that are in marriage. For example?
Okay, let me say this.
All right.
Marriage has conflicts. And people can conflict in marriage daily. And the issue is not about conflict. The issue is how the conflicts are resolved. And I can say this widely, and I want to say it clearly, that nobody has the capacity not to have any conflict with anybody. So moving out of marriage because somebody had a conflict with somebody, it only prepares you to have another conflict with the other person. Because everybody has a potentiality of a conflict between human beings. And to me, teaching people communication and marriage conflict resolutions is a key thing. And as a religious person, I must say that the idea of God when he created man and wife, it was an exclusive relationship, which was the big picture between God and his relationship with man. Yes. And God could have created really more women because he had the soil, but he never did that. He only created one, just one. And that's exactly what he stands for to this date. He's an unchanging God. But I think the shortcoming of human beings, the greed, and the changing society, because culture is about what man creates for himself. Culture is not about what God created for man. And it's purely within the reach of man to concentrate on the things that God said and follow them. And that will bring sanity within the society. And we know for sure, without doubt, that adultery and polygamy, if you weigh them vis-a-vis a monogamous marriage, there are many, many problems. People even transact diseases because when people want to do polygamy and adultery, there is no time for medical checkups. Yeah, so you can get a serial killer sexually, and he kills a whole family. He can kill a whole society. And we must raise our voices about this, even in the times that we are living in.
All right. So I want us to go back just a bit and hear what Irene has to say about this. And taking a few steps back and listening to what the Reverend had to say, he says, adultery, of course, comes after the conflicts that we usually have in our marriages day in, day out. I mean, these are two different human beings that you've brought together. If it's a man who's used to living with his family or living alone, and then this is a woman who's used to living with her family, they've never lived together, then finally they get married, and this is, the vow says, till death do us part. So these are two people from different backgrounds, different families who are now put together in one house. Definitely, there'll have to be a conflict. But what type of conflict is this that even pushes either the man or the woman to step outside of their marriage and forcing them to commit adultery? Psychologically, what would you say is the best way to curb this? Because we're such to see people fight. We're sad to see people disagree. But it doesn't mean that if you disagree, as the Reverend said, you step out. So what are you supposed to do? Okay.
As the Reverend says, there are a lot of conflicts because you are two individual human beings who come together through nature, because you have to be there in marriage. And then you are very unique. You are very different from one another. And that is why we call for premarital counseling, so that they may understand all that glitters on Irene. When we remove the mask, when they marry, wedding is a celebration. But when they get into the marriage, they start realizing, hey, this one have got a weakness I didn't see. So to be able to complement one another, to look at my weaknesses and support me to make me strong, that is what is lacking. And most of all, we say human being is a social being. We have to communicate, and that is the cause of all this. People don't communicate, and the way they communicate is to try to solve things your own way. You shout at me, I shout at you, I don't listen to you. We need a listening here as a couple. Where I go wrong, try to come around in a positive way, but don't take it as an issue on you. Compliment one another, and you can build one another. When you go out to look for another person, he creates more problem in the marriage because you are going to lose your self-image, yourself there in the other relationship, and you get a lot of losses. You lose your family, you lose your your self-esteem, because people will be pointing fingers at your family. Financially, you become dehydrated, okay? Because this other person is not really giving love. It's just to make you happy for the moment.
And with that, I want to ask both of you a question. There's this argument that even I've seen men and even some women accepting it, that, you know, when a man cheats, when a man steps out of the marriage, it's okay because it's just the physical part of it. It's not really anything to do with emotions. But when a woman steps out of their marriage, they've gone. Once a woman cheats on you, she's gone. You should forget about her, because by the time a woman is going to be with someone else physically, they've gone with their heart, their soul, their body, everything. But for a man, it's all about the physical. And this, by the way, I've heard even as women who've been hurt by their husbands. A woman would come crying and say, oh, see, my man is with another woman, my husband is with another woman. And the person who she's crying to advises and says, no, don't worry. Men will always be men, and men will cheat. But as long as anarudi kwako nyumbani. Yes? So how do we demystify, even the Reverend is laughing, how do we demystify this notion? Because this is a notion that you'd have women even accept. If your man cheats on you, what would you do? I'd cry, but would move on. You move on with life.
I would say in that one, women are emotional.
Yes.
We think with our hearts. Men, that's why they are called the head of the family. They use their minds and their brains so much. So sex is in the mind. True. And I had heard people saying, now you are old enough, they tell other people. And you say, no, sex is in the mind. What you believe makes you happy. So the man will go out for a moment to be happy, but the woman will carry that burden, that heartache, the bitterness. You are embittered, you are angry, but still you have a place expectancy. You are expecting that he may come back one day. So we carry that until we get sick. Many people have been depressed. They come to us. They have gotten into stress, then to depression, other illnesses, ulcers, because you can't even sleep.
Some even die.
They die. They commit suicide because you are left by a man. Or the man is still going on. Okay, even men, at some time you have feelings because of the society. People will point at you, oh, he made that one to commit suicide. How do you feel about it? You are also there. You are suffering, but they don't show like the ladies. They don't carry for a long time. I think the society also allows men to be what they are. Because when we allow them that they can have 5 or 10, what are we saying? You hurt the first one, hurt another one, you hurt the 5, you'll get even 20. And as Mushugaji says, you end up bringing sicknesses and disease in your family. So what are we going to do about this? That is what you're asking.
All right. No, so sorry, Irene. Before you very quickly give us the solution, I'd like to hear your sentiments on this notion that it's okay, a man can cheat, it's all about the physical, he'll still come back home. Very quickly, Reverend, what are your sentiments?
I think I would want to refer to a course I did in August 2004. And this course was just about sexuality. And the truth is, when people have sex with a partner, there is what we call the imprinting. And imprinting, the Bible says that when they become one, and Corinthians rightly says, if you have sex with anybody else, you become one. So those people who do that, and they sleep with women all over, or they sleep with men all over, they are seriously polygamous. And I want to say that possibly the genesis of this problem is because from the word go, man made rules for himself and for the rest of the society. And man has been doing, I would say, selfish roles. He's the one, you'll be surprised to discover that he's the one who started by saying it's okay. It's not women. It's okay. It's okay for man to go alone. He's the one who started that story.
But I'm a man.
But sold that story to the women. So they think it is okay.